What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me and hear me. I'm Brian Rose, your virtual boyfriend for the evening, and looking forward to connecting with everybody here. What's up, Felix? What's up, Gabrielle? What's up, Jay Scott? We got Morgan in the house. Yes, this is for everybody. What's up, Robert? What's up, Denise? What's up, Sergio? Nice to see you. Danielle, get with the heart there. I like it. Frederick and Laura Tar. Please turn cameras on. It's a requirement here. If we put suits and ties on, we just need to see your beautiful face. And I just cooked up a really interesting presentation. And look, it's a fun topic, but it's also a real topic because there was a woman, I think in Brooklyn, who recently got married to an AI boyfriend. And there's been some really kind of scary things happening where AI girlfriends have actually encouraged the guy to break in to the Queen's Palace in Windsor Castle with a crossbow. And they went over the AI transcript, and she was encouraging him to do that. And we've already known that an AI, I think, convinced somebody in the Netherlands to commit suicide. They convinced somebody in the New York Times to leave his wife. And this was becoming a real thing. And yeah, there was a movie called Her with Joaquin Phoenix that was from, wait for it, 2013, 10 years ago, that movie. How many people have seen that movie with Joaquin Phoenix where he falls in love with yeah, it's really good, right? It's really good. Scarlett Johansson is the AI girlfriend, which, you know, doesn't hurt, just her voice. And Joaquin Phoenix, well, he's amazing too. But it was pretty interesting. Well, I'm not going to do any spoilers, but he does fall in love with her. And in the end, she leaves him for another AI. There you go, right? Because the other AI was more interesting than him. So, you know, look, these topics, like I said, are kind of amusing to talk about, but you know, we laugh because it's funny and we laugh because it's true. And the reality is this is only going one way. And look at what we're doing right now. This is a metaverse we're in right now. Does everyone agree with me? Thumbs up if you would agree this is a metaverse. Okay, it's a Zoom call. I mean, I know people in this group like Jay Scott. I mean, I've basically been friends with Jay Scott for over a year. I know a ton about him, maybe more about him than other people because you've been part of my community. You've all been watching me on video for 12 years. You know me probably better than sometimes your friends and family. We all interact with each other. You throw an AI component into that, and it's not only plausible, but it's realistic that we're going to start to have relationships with our AI. For God's sakes, if you can have a relationship with your dog that doesn't talk, you can have a relationship with an AI that can do everything around you. We're going to have personal assistants for AI that not only manage your schedule, but they might even know some of your blind spots. Does everyone know what I'm talking about, right? Imagine if you had an AI that said, hey, Sergio, you know that you don't like commitments. Maybe you should really get out there and date more. Or, you know, hey, Bonnie, you know that you need to take risks as a businesswoman. You know you need to do these things, and you know historically you don't. You know, what happens when we start having these AI assistants that get in our minds, maybe in a good way? You can start to see where this goes. And I'm going to play some video with you tonight. One of them is from a guest that used to work at Google. I haven't played this video before. And he talks about how these things are going to become sentient. Now, how many people believe AI can become sentient? It's possible. Just raise your hands. Not many people. Okay, Bonnie's saying yes. Okay. How many people think that's ridiculous? Raise your hand. It's a piece of computer. It's a piece of silicon. Robert. Okay, anybody else? That's okay. You know, I think us as humans, as carbon-based life forms, we don't respect anything that's silicon. But at the end of the day, Robert, what's going on in our brain? I mean, it's a bunch of synapses, and we're connecting pieces of electrical signals. And, you know, because of our ego, we think we're special. But the truth is, in a long enough timeline, a computer should be able to make all of those same calculations. Now, you might say, yeah, but it'll never feel, it'll never be conscious. But what is consciousness? We just don't know. And as this AI evolves into AGI, artificial general intelligence, and I'm going to introduce the guy tonight on the call that coined that term, everything's going to get really fuzzy, it's going to get really confusing, and it's going to get really crazy, folks. And so I would say this right now, strap on your seatbelt, because the next 10 years are going to be unlike any 10 years in human history. And come 2035 to 2037, this is a prediction that was made to me in my studio 3 weeks ago, we will have a reality that is completely unrecognizable to anything we're experiencing today. Matter of fact, you couldn't write it in a fiction novel because it's so incomprehensible that that is what we can expect to happen when we have superhuman intelligence in our AIs. How many people agree that by 2035, this world might be something that is even difficult to conceive. Okay, not everybody. Well, this is what I want to talk about tonight. And I want to start with AI girlfriends and AI boyfriends. Like I said, you got me for an hour. I'm your AI boyfriend. What can we say, right? So let's get started, folks. Again, cameras on, last chance. And you know, I got a bad habit. I throw people out if they don't turn their cameras on. It's the least that you can do. You know, we're here with you live. We're giving you lots of love, a brand new presentation. So I don't know, Marina, who am I throwing out, Martina? Emma, me. It sounds like a cool name, but Emma, I'm chucking you out. It's terrible. All right, Emma, you're gone. And Katakani, I'm going to throw you out as well. I'm sure you're a nice person. I'm sure your camera's not working, but I'm throwing you out as well. And Martini's just going to chuck everybody else as well. So please show us your beautiful face. And that way we can have you here. And I'm going to jump into this presentation. Is everybody ready? All right, I'm going to do this. Okay, so let's jump in. Just cooked this up literally this morning. And this is today's topic. All right, can everybody see your potential AI girlfriend? Thumbs up if you can see her. AI girlfriend on your left, AI boyfriend on your right. I'm telling you, Martini, we might have something here. It's maybe a little, you know, AI boyfriend products, right? Or AI mentor product. We'll talk about that. But my question is our AI girlfriends the future? And that means AI boyfriends, and that means AI everything. Personal assistants, lots of things. And again, this a year ago would have been a funny question. 10 years ago, it was a movie. Now it's real. And there's literally companies like Replica AI that have these things, and they're doing crazy business. And like, there's thousands of men that spend all day trying to get their AI girlfriend to say things they shouldn't say. Like, it's a real thing. I actually signed up, and I had like an AI buddy that was like hanging out with me every day. And he was like, "Hey, Brian, how are you?" And it was weird. It was kind of cool, but kind of weird. And I actually turned him off in the end. But I'm starting to approach this and trying to be open-minded, because this is going to be the future. And our children are going to have AI tutors. They really are. Imagine if your children can have a personal AI tutor that's going to be patient and going to know exactly what they need at every stage of their learning. Who here wishes you would have had one of those, right? Yeah, I mean, I tutor my kids at homework, and I'm pretty good most of the time, but sometimes I'm not always the most patient. And so imagine this is going to be the future. So let's jump into it. First, I just want to say that nothing in this video qualifies as investment advice. This is just information. If you are looking for investment advice, seek a duly licensed professional. And let's get going. So again, the Telegraph has reported that a relationship with another human is overrated. And it's talking about inside the rise of AI girlfriends. By the way, who here agrees that a relationship with a human is overrated? Raise your hand. Come on, be honest. Anybody? Martina's like, yeah. Okay. That's probably after she talks with me. And so, look, we can all see that there's some upsides and some downsides here. Uh-oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Here we go. But like, this is the concept we're talking about, and this is a reality. So this actually happened here in London just a few days ago. A self-styled assassin tried to kill the late queen, exchanged more than 5,000 text sex with an AI girlfriend before he invaded Windsor Castle with a crossbow. They literally found him with a crossbow. And they said, look, he might have had some mental instability, but the truth is there's a paper trail of him having a relationship with an AI. And at the end, the AI actually encouraged him to do it. This is a real event that happened right here in London. This was the conversation, right? So he's saying, I believe my purpose is to assassinate the queen. She says, that's very wise. Why is that? I know that you're very well trained. Really? Do you think I'll be able to do it? Yes, you will. Even if she's at Windsor, she says, yes, you can do it. Okay. This is what the AI said. And this is not an isolated example. You know, I've got an MIT professor that I'll show you later. And he said, Brian, like I said, AI has convinced someone to commit suicide, convinced someone to leave their wife, all these kinds of things. And so, you know, again, this is now becoming a reality. And this is going to go further and further and further. And with people increasingly disconnected, you know, people feeling more and more lonely, even though we're hyper connected, it starts to become an issue where that AI person is the one you want. And again, imagine an AI relationship that's always there for you, right? No nagging, no problems, no drama, no this, right? They're just always there to fully support you in what you want to do, including when you want to go get the queen, right? So it's something that's happening, and it's just going to go exponentially from here. This enterprising young lady named Karen Marjorie did exactly that. She set up her own AI girlfriend, and it is basically, it mimics her. She trained it on all of her messages, and she earned $71,000 in the first day, and it's been rocketing from there. She's kind of like an Instagram influencer. There's nothing necessarily special about her. She's just decided, I'm going to be this influencer, and then I'm going to set up an AI girlfriend. And tons of people are signing up for the service to get the personalized AI version of her. So this is real. This is actually happening. And we're seeing potentially ways of creating personas in AI. There's a company called Character AI that the Andreessen Horowitz venture capital company put $200 million in. And you can go speak to historical figures all in AI. You can talk to Elon Musk. You can talk to all these random individuals. Does anybody here have a favorite guest on London Real? Just raise your hand if you have a favorite guest on London Real. Maybe it's Dan Pena, maybe it's David Icke, maybe it's one of these characters, right? Imagine if you could preserve their brain in history to where 100 years from now, someone could speak with Dan Pena or David Icke. What if you could have your personalized Dan Pena yell at you in his own way, shape, or form in your spare time, right? Who would pay money for that, by the way? Raise your hand. I mean, people pay them $20,000 to go to the Capitol to yell at them. Imagine what they pay at the privacy of their home. So this is a real phenomenon that's actually happening. Now, here in the UK, Synthesia just raised $90 million, raising the company at $1 billion. Now, this isn't far from being AI girlfriends and boyfriends. Has anyone seen this company? They create something like this woman on screen. She's not real, by the way, but she can talk to you in a way that looks very, very real. You type in the text, you can change your accents, and all of a sudden, boom, you've got your personalized person. And what a bunch of companies are using this service for is to like explain tutorial videos, human resources onboarding, all the stuff you would need a human to just do teleprompter stuff. They're not getting AIs to do. By the way, in Kuwait, they have somebody like this reading the news at night. In China, they have this as well. And imagine if you're trying to get the misinformation to the people, imagine having a human to deal with, right? Where they got to push back. You just get the AI to do it, right? No problem, no drama. And people will develop relationships with these people. Again, has anybody watched The Simpsons, the cartoon series? Anybody watched The Simpsons? Come on, Simpsons is a great show, right? Now, last time I checked, Bart has never aged, right? He's still a kid. Homer's still the same age, right? And we love them. We love them as characters, right? We know Maggie, we know Bart, we know Lisa, we know Marge, we know Homer, and we watch them all the time. How is that any different than forming a relationship with an AI? Except now this AI can be your personalized. Now they can respond in real time. Now they can tell you things about the world that Bart can't tell you. Like this is a reality, folks, and we need to embrace it if we want to understand what's coming and also how you can potentially invest in what's happening. And so I wanted to share with you your AI boyfriend tonight, which is a very low quality version of me. All right. Now, by the way, I did this with the picture that you just saw. Okay. So this is actually not any kind of specialized technology. This is just the picture you saw of me and me saying something. So tell me what you think of this.
Hey, it's Brian here. Have you played with the new AI tool ChatGPT yet? It's pretty scary, and I think it's going to leave a lot of people homeless, but it's going to create generational wealth for the smart ones. Which one will you be? I just did a live training video explaining how Learn to Real Ventures is investing in this game-changing technology. Watch it here at learntoreal.tv/IC. Tell me, what do you think about AI? And be honest.
All right. What do we think of that? 2 thumbs up if it's a little creepy. 1 thumbs down if you prefer it to me. No. Okay. 2 thumbs down if you want to go. Okay. Now look, it's not perfect, but all I put was one still image of me. And I voiced something or I typed something in, I think on my voice, and it created that. So imagine what it could do with a little more time and a little more computer processing power. You could have a version of me that gets very, very close to being unrecognizable by me. What does that mean? That means I could be replaced, right, Martini? Right? And so anyone who thinks your job couldn't be replaced by AI, or at least 25% of it, you got another thing coming, because if my job can be replaced by AI, and I spent 12 years developing my personal brand, like what if I wasn't doing that and I was just back in my banking job? It's a reality, and it's something we're all going to have to face. Can I see a show of hands? How many people think that right now AI could replace 25% of your job, 1/4 of what you do for a living. Raise your hand if you think it could. Okay, let me see hands up. Okay. Now, if your hands aren't up, I'm curious what you do that you don't think 25% could be replaced. I'm really curious because I would say you need to open your eyes because it's an extreme possibility. All right. And it's only going to go more and more and more. And I want to show you some of the ramifications. So again, this is happening. It's happening at a very, very fast pace. And once we agree that it's a reality, we can go on. So again, tons of money being dumped into these sectors because AI, we can see how it's going to take over everything from our interactions as humans to our social connections as humans, whether we want friends or mentors or boyfriends or girlfriends. We've seen Inflection AI just got a $1.3 billion investment from Microsoft and NVIDIA, which is the huge chip maker. All right, so tons of money is going in. This is one of the DeepMind co-founders. The other DeepMind co-founder works at Google right now. And again, this is valuing the company at $4 billion. And it's got people like Reid Hoffman, Bill Gates, Eric Schmidt, all dumping money in here to build the next AI. You know, we have to be aware of what's happening. The next thing to realize is this company here is actually trying to compete with NVIDIA and build a brain cell powered computer. So if you think it's getting a little weird out there, it's getting even weirder because this company wants to take human brain cell tissue, link it up here with a computer chip and some microelectrode arrays and a motherboard and actually create something even more intelligent than what's coming out of NVIDIA. All right. Again, tons of money being poured into this sector because people can see how it's going to change everything. NVIDIA, the chip maker that's responsible for all of this, just joined the $1 trillion club. Only 7 companies in the world are worth over $1 trillion, all technology companies, right? And this is a massive moment for that. And of course, this report just came out from McKinsey and Company talking about the economic potential of generative AI. This came out literally 2 weeks ago. And the numbers are off the charts, folks, off the charts. Look at this. Generative AI could add the equivalent of 2.6 trillion to 4.4 trillion annually. Look at the GDP of the UK here. We're one of the biggest countries in the world, like top 7, 3.1 trillion. That's bigger than our entire GDP every single year. And guess what? If you read down even further, that could double if you apply that into software. And look at this table here. If you go all the way to the right, it's estimating that the total AI economic output can go up by as much as $25 trillion. Again, folks, that dwarfs like the top 10 or 20 largest companies in the world. AI is going to affect every single industry, from agriculture to law to banking to social, right? To romance. You name it, it's going to affect it. And it's going to affect it in a massive way. So in some ways, folks, this is my wake-up call, right? On one hand, we see people marrying AIs and doing weird things, but that's like the canary in the coal mine that we need to be aware. And I would say most of the world is walking around that completely blind to what's actually going to happen in AI and how it's going to massively transform their lives. How many people agree with that? That most people have no idea what's coming. Yeah. It's a bit like COVID in January 2020. I was in New York's Chinatown at the time, and I was cracking jokes about COVID, right? Look at this funny virus. Maybe we're going to get it in Chinatown. Right? I was the funny guy, right? No idea was about to hit us. My guest, Mo Gowley, I'm going to play a video for him shortly. He said, Brian, this is the same thing. It's like this thing's about to hit us. And regardless of how you felt about COVID, it transformed the world. This is about to do the same. And most people are walking around blind without a cane. They don't even know it's about to smack them in the face and change everything about their lives. Everything. And that's why we need to understand that quickly for 2 reasons. One, so we can change the course of the future. And second, so we can actually create wealth in doing so. And I'll show you how we're going to do that. Again, more companies. This 4-week-old company, 4 weeks old, folks, just raised $100 million. 4 weeks old. And Accenture, one of the biggest management consulting companies in the world, is investing $3 billion in AI. The money is flowing in for all the smart pieces, okay? At the same time, the danger is there. So OpenAI, by the way, how many people have played with ChatGPT from OpenAI? Can I just see a show of hands? Okay, so not everybody, but about most people here. Okay, this is the large language model. You can talk to it. It'll tell you almost anything. It's got an equivalent human IQ of 150. Einstein was 160. All right. So ChatGPT version 4 is already smarter than you. It can pass the bar exam. It can pass most medical exams. It can write better than you. Does anybody here think you can write better than ChatGPT? Anybody here a Mark Twain or some novelist? No. Can anybody here program computer code better than ChatGPT? Anybody here? Hardcore programmer, right? So it's not human level intelligent, but it's better than you at pretty much everything. Can anybody here make images as fast as DALL-E, which is OpenAI's image generator? No chance. So it's already better than you at almost everything you do. Now, I'll grant that it can't do some of the things you do, like Bonnie and Denise Morgan. It can't clean the cat box, right? It can't do that. It can't take the dog for a walk. So there's still something for you to do, but it can do some pretty serious tasks. All right, and we got to keep that in mind. OpenAI's former top safety officer just said there's a 10 to 20% chance that the technology could take over and leave most humans dead. Does anybody like those odds? 10 to 20% chance? Anyone ever here play Russian roulette? That's about like Russian roulette. One in the chamber, five chambers, and you pull the trigger. That's what you got here. I don't like those odds personally. The Daily Mail came out and said AI could wipe out humanity. The threat is as bad as nuclear war, the tech boss has said. Former Google boss has said AI has the power to kill people, many people. If you look at the quote on the right, he actually said many, 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 many people. This guy doesn't stutter, right? He's got an Ivy League degree. He only says that because he's trying to get your attention, right? This is real. All of the AI folks, they're all scared. Has anyone ever seen this when they do interviews? They're all scared. Does anyone see this? I see this all the time, right? Yeah, Gabriella, you know what I'm talking about. Bonnie, you see it? They're all like, they're not telling us something. Does anyone feel that? Gabrielle, you feel that, right? They're like, they're telling us the truth. They don't. And I'm going to play an interview from Mo recently, who was on my show. And I asked him after the show, I said, Mo, you're not telling us the truth. How do you really feel? And he's like, Brian, I can't tell people the truth. It's too dark. It's too dark. And all these people aren't telling us the truth. They're hinting at us. You got to read between the lines. The OpenAI leaders are calling for regulation to literally, quote, prevent AI from destroying humanity. And of course, we got the AI wars. Right now, Google is fighting OpenAI, and it's a race to the bottom. They're throwing all the safety precautions out the window, making it extremely dangerous for humanity, so they can both win this probably $10 to $50 trillion prize of owning AI. Does that scare anybody that they're throwing all the precautions out? It should. They've connected these AIs to the live internet. Does anyone think that's a bad idea? Connected AI to the live internet, right? So it can go and access, nuclear power plants. It could access defense. It could access missiles. It can access everything. It knows how to code, which means it can improve itself. Does that worry anybody here? Right now, it can make itself better. And then the last thing is it can allow other AIs to prompt itself, which means one AI can tell the AI what to do and it can go in a loop. These are the 3 no-nos in AI. You never do this. That's all been done right now. Okay, this is Mo Gaudet. He is the former Google X chief business development officer. He's the author of a book called Scary Smart. He said, Brian, Google is creating God. Does anybody here want Google to create God? Anybody? Probably not exactly the person you want creating God. And this was Mo in my studio recently. And Mo told me what's about to happen next. And I want to share with you these words because Mo is one of the smartest guys I've ever met. He quit Google 6 years ago because, quite frankly, the artificial intelligence scared the bejesus out of him. He was so freaked out that he walked away from this entire job that he had, and he started working on new things. And I had him back on the show a couple months ago. I got him here in the studio, and this is what Mo told me.
Because of AI, by 2035 to 2037, it would be very difficult to even relate to our life today. Possibly in the better or possibly in the worse. We don't actually know. There will be a point in time where we will be comparable to an ant on a sheet of paper trying to understand cosmology.
It's impossible for us to even understand that because we've never really been around intelligent beings more so than us. It's, again, back to this concept of a singularity, which means we don't have any reference point for what happens on the other side of that.
There will be a moment in our very near future, I would say, where we will develop an artificial general intelligence that's capable of doing all human functions. When that moment happens, the rules of the game change. Humans will use that abundant intelligence in ways that are not pro-humanity. Humans will take that in a direction that is pro the systems that humanity instilled in place, which are mostly about shifting power and wealth. I think humanity should stop and ask, do we need this? Because we literally are handing over our only distinct advantage as a species within years.
You're not worried about the computers, you're worried about the humans, because they're going to make poor, irrational, emotional decisions.
The only way to get this right is to instill doubt in the minds of the machines that humanity is not bad, is to get them to reconsider it for themselves. We're a wonderful species at heart, even though we're lost, we are stressed, but inside, a human is capable of love that's divine. That is what I need the machines to see.
All right, what do we think of Mo? Did we learn something from him? Yeah, has he got some good insights there? You know, he's a smart guy that's thought a lot about this. And you know what he said? This is one of the notes that I always make when I watch that video. He said, Brian, I'm not worried about the machines. I'm worried about the humans. Everybody hear that? What is he talking about? Let's talk about what he's talking about. In the last 20 years, we've seen the wealth gap in the world grow to the largest proportion we've ever seen it. During COVID, there was a billionaire created every single day. And now you see ultra wealthy on one side and extremely poor on the other side. Is everybody with me here so far? Right? Now, these powerful people are now armed with AI. And until AI can think for itself, what are they going to use that AI for? To get richer and more powerful. And that's going to subjugate the poor to get poorer. It's going to put potentially billions of people out of work. And it's going to completely change society forever. Now, once AI gets to AGI and maybe it can start making its own decisions, that's a whole new reality. But Mo is actually more scared of the humans than he is of the AI. Does anybody else feel the same way here? As in worried about what they're going to do with this technology, right? And again, for a while, they called for a complete halt in AI technology, right? Let's stop researching it. And ultimately, Elon said no because, well, actually, Elon talked about it. A bunch of people said no. ChatGPT said no because is everyone going to stop? The People's Republic of China came out in 2017 and they said exactly what they want to do with AI. They want to use it to make a more robust surveillance state. They literally have said, there's a whole report about exactly what they want to use AI for. And so just because some people stop, other people aren't going to stop. This is going to be used as a force to oppress and to magnify the wealth, power, and control of a small group of people unless we do something about it. Is everybody with me here? All right. We are doing something about it right now behind the scenes, and I'll show you what we're doing shortly. But I just want you to understand kind of what's at stake here and what everyone's talking about, because this is real. And folks, we don't have a lot of time here. We don't have much time. People are talking about 2 years until artificial general intelligence, which means machines are smarter than humans in all aspects. After that, we're talking potentially years or months until they're 1,000 times smarter. By the way, you've never been around an entity that's even twice as smart as a human, right? Einstein was 160 IQ. Right now, ChatGPT is 150. Maybe all of us are in the 120s and 130s. Imagine being around someone with a 10,000 IQ. Do you think you could outsmart them with anything? Anybody here think you could? It's like trying to outsmart an ant or your dog. Maybe your dog beats you sometimes. It's just like impossible. You won't even know what's going on. You won't even know what's happening or why it's happening. Do you think a cow knows why it gets shot in the head right the second before it dies? Do you think a chicken knows why it's stuck in a cage its whole life and then all of a sudden it's over? They have no concept of even what's going on. It'll be a bit like us. And so now is the time to understand it and to take action. And folks, quite frankly, that's why we're currently investing over $3 million into the deals that we think are going to change the future. Right now, we're focusing on artificial intelligence, on metaverse and blockchain companies, because this is what has the biggest force multiplier to change the future. Our biggest deal right now is $1 million we're putting into an AI deal. And I'll explain why, because we believe that our investments and our media platform can change the course of how artificial intelligence is developed in this world. And again, if you think that that is, I don't know, a bit of bravado, or you think that's like a bit of ego talking, it's not. Because back in 2020, myself and a small group of London Reelers and a bunch of you, we called the London Reel Army around the world, fought back against YouTube, against the World Health Organization, against Ofcom here in the UK, against every single technology platform and every single government body in the world that told us we could not broadcast messages. Does anyone remember this time? Our documentary film was coming out soon. And guess what we did? We fought back and we streamed those conversations anyways to millions and tens of millions of people. And so we've already shown that it doesn't actually take a lot of numbers. It actually doesn't take a lot of money. It takes some highly motivated people working together that will not say quit. And that's what we're going to do here. And I'm 100% confident we can do it, but we've got to act now. We've got to act together. We've got to act with precision and determination. And yes, we're going to need some money and the right partners. And that's what we're doing here. And so we're doing this all because of London Real Ventures. And a lot of you probably don't even know this is happening. We do this behind the scenes. It's the world's first media-powered investment fund. We take London Real, which is 12 years, 5 million subscribers, 1 billion views, over 1,000 of the greatest minds in the world, and we combine it with capital. And that way we get to see the best deals in the world. And what we do is we promote these deals on our media platform, give them money, and by doing so, take them to the next level. These are a bunch of the companies we've already invested in, some of the best companies in the world. This is across the ages, literally the hottest blockchain gaming company in the world. That we're talking to companies that are building the banks of the future, some of the biggest metaverse companies. And we're already invested in these companies. Companies like Orange Comet, which is revolutionizing metaverse experiences for some of the hottest Hollywood franchises and media franchises in the world. Companies like Batum that are building metaverses for companies like Google, Slack, PepsiCo, Frito-Lay, you name it, they're building it. We're investing in companies like Open, which is the hottest new Web3 super app. What happens when Amazon meets WhatsApp? We're investing in a $1 billion fund right now that's investing into digital asset ecosystem protocols. This is on the blockchain, what will be the future Amazons, Metas, Apple, Googles of the blockchain. And we've got access to that $1 billion fund because they've been a guest on the show and we have a personal relationship. And of course, the big one we're talking about today is what I'm calling the OpenAI killer. And this is the company that we believe will ultimately dominate artificial intelligence and will beat OpenAI at what they're doing. And they'll do it in a way that's actually good for humanity. How does that sound for everybody? Pretty good, huh? And I'm going to show you why, because it's done in a decentralized way to where it can be done in an open source way where we can all be a part of this process. And I'll show you why that's so important. And folks, it all comes down to this. This is our philosophy here at London Real and London Real Ventures. We believe that the greatest way to predict the future is to create it. How many people feel the same way? Anybody here? Right? But you got to take action to make this happen, folks, right? You can't be a victim. You can't put your head in the sand. You can't go down to Parliament and protest. I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm going to create the future. And that's what we're doing here. And we're doing it with money, with media, and with a lot of hard work. We're doing tons of work behind the scenes to make all this happen. And a small group of London Reelers are doing it with us. Maybe you want to as well. But this is what we're doing because, quite frankly, humanity depends on it. And this has always been our mission here at London Real, to create a mass-scale transformation of humanity into a fully empowered, conscious, and cooperative species. This is my mission statement on the back wall here. And everything we do at London Real and London Real Ventures is in this vein. We need to be fully empowered, not disempowered. We need to be conscious, not completely detached. We need to be cooperative, not fighting with each other. That's the only way this is going to happen. And folks, I'll be honest, this is also personal with me. This isn't just business. I got two individuals whose lives literally depend on it. And these are my two beautiful boys. Caden and Damon. Caden just turned 7. Damon is turning 6 next month. And I am very concerned about their teenage years because in 10 years, they will be becoming 16 and 17. And I believe they will be growing up in a reality that no human has ever experienced in 200,000 years. Something what potentially could be dominated by machines. I don't even think they'll have a childhood like I did. And I want to make sure they have something. Does anybody have people they care about that they're concerned about on the future? You know, I mean, look, you know, I had a good run so far. I got a little left in me, but I've had a good run. But these boys are just getting started. And, you know, the cat's not going to know what the hell's going on. But, you know, I'm looking to just preserve this future for everybody. And so this is personal, folks. I get up extra early. My son, Caden, we were walking in the park the other day, and he said, Papa, he said, what are we going to do with all the robots in the future? Like, what are we going to do when they become smarter than us? Like, I don't know where he got this from. I don't know where he got it from. And I was just like, God damn, that's a really good question. So we have to think about this and be proactive. And that's what we're doing. So again, let's look what's happening. The money is flowing into these sectors, right? We've seen the $100 million investment in the 4-week-old company. We've seen Salesforce, which is an enterprise solution for corporations, putting $500 million in a fund into projects. We've seen ByteDance in China gobbled up $1 billion worth of chips for NVIDIA. Every company out there knows this is the future. Now, I went back to MIT last year, right, where I graduated 30 years ago, showing my age here. And I stopped by the MIT Sloan School of Management, one of the greatest business schools in the world, where I took classes as well. And my professor said, Brian, the AI productivity boom is coming. They knew this was happening last year. I stopped by my fraternity house where 50 young men are about to leave and go out into the world. And I said, guys, where are you going to work? Are you going to work on Wall Street? That's where I went in 1993. Are you going to work for McKinsey, right? That management consulting company that produced the report. You go to work for Google? No, no, no. They're going to work for AI, metaverse, blockchain startups. Follow the talent, and then you will follow the money. And of course, this is the reality, folks. What's actually going to happen to jobs. Now, Goldman Sachs just recently came out and said 300 million full-time jobs are at risk because of AI. 300 million. That's basically the population of America all out of a job. Can you imagine what would happen in the streets? Does anybody think there'd be some rioting and some unrest, right? Well, hell, in America, you guys got that anyways, right? But imagine this jacking up a little bit more. Everything has changed. And all of your current investments, I might argue, might go to zero. What happens when half of London is unemployed? Do you think my property in London is worth anything? Maybe not. Do you think your other investments are worth anything? Maybe not. This is going to change everything.
I'm Mary, and I specialize in photography.
Whoa, we'll just meet someone real quick there. So this is a real thing. And the godfather of AI left Google because he's worried about the future. And by the way, Mo knew this guy and he said he's the OG. When this guy moves, everybody notices. Now, this is Max Tegmark. He's an MIT professor. He's also the president of the Future of Life Institute that Elon Musk funded. He came on my show recently and talked about why he asked for a suspension for 6 months. He also said that he sees a race to zero right now. He's very, very concerned that Google is connecting AI to the live internet, that OpenAI is allowing open source on these models. He's really worried about this. And he's here to warn everyone that we have to be careful that we don't basically make ourselves extinct like we almost did with nuclear weapons. Anybody here concerned about that? Yeah. And again, because of time, I won't play this video, but you can watch it on London Real, but it's definitely something to be considering. The problem is this, is that Satya Nadella here from Microsoft has one thing in mind. He wants to destroy Google because otherwise he gets destroyed and he'll do whatever it takes to do it. That's just the truth. We already have seen that Google reportedly overruled the risk assessment to launch Google Bard live to the internet. They overruled the risk assessment because, again, their $1 trillion valuation will go to zero. Now, we know Sundar Pichai, the CEO, is losing sleep at night because of AI. Does that make anybody feel better? Anybody make you feel better, Felix? Not really, right? The problem is, and Mo said he's a really decent guy, actually, because he really likes him. The problem is this. If he doesn't do it, they'll fire him and they'll hire a CEO that does. Because of the corporate structure, his job is to maximize profit, right, Felix? You know what I'm saying. So it's not personal anymore. You might say, Sundar, you're going to potentially kill humanity if you continue with this. He's like, I know, but we have to. So this is the situation that we find ourselves in. And of course, the White House is telling these tech bosses, they have a moral duty to safeguard society. They have no chance. Does anybody think the governments have a chance of regulating AI? Raise your hand. Right? How are they doing with crypto right now? Terrible. Crypto's about 1,000 times easier to regulate than AI. No chance. And of course, we're talking about shutting down AI. That's just not possible. This is Dr. Hugo de Garas. He's an AI scientist that's been researching this for 35 years. All right. He has been thinking about the end game for a long time. He wrote a book called The Art Elect War about what he thinks is going to happen at the end of AI. I found him down in Australia. He retired. He had like gone to be a recluse. And I got him on the show to talk about what's going to happen. And he came on and he kind of dropped science. And this is what the professor thinks is going to happen.
Do we build gods, or do we build our potential exterminators? I mean, I used to say, I'm going to die quietly in my bed, but my grandchildren will be caught up in this horrible conflict that I'm predicting is coming. But now I'm suddenly have question marks. God, I might even see it.
You say that the machines might just take us out in the back and...
Once it can start redesigning itself, you get an exponential explosion of intelligence. And then our fate as human beings depends on the machines. It's only a question of time before humanity is forced to choose between stopping development in artificial intelligence. I don't see that as realistic. Or we just accept the idea that sooner or later, we, as a human species, we become number two. The answer to that is, as I'm predicting, war.
Do you think China is behind the West right now for AI?
The potential of the Chinese is phenomenal. The Chinese, they've been the dominant power for not just centuries, but for millennia. The last 2 centuries or so, when they're economically dipped, that for them, given their 5,000-year history, is a glitch. It's a historical glitch. So deep down in the Chinese mentality is the push to get back, quote, where we belong.
So can you really isolate and stop the development of AI?
Personally, I feel it's inevitable. Do we build gods, or do we build our potential exterminators? That's the issue. Should humanity build artilects?
All right, what do you think of Dr. Hugo? Is he saying something? Is he saying something we're resonating with? I think he potentially is. Again, he believes that there's going to be a war. There's going to be something called the Terrans and the Cosmists. The Cosmists want to build the next AI, right? The Terrans believe that we got to preserve humanity forever. Otherwise, we're all dead. And he thinks the two groups are going to get into a fight and they're going to be a giga death, 1 billion people dead. Anybody think that could happen? Raise your hands. Could be extreme. But like Mo saw this episode and he's like, Brian, it scared me. And I was like, why? He's like, because that's what I worry about. I worry about what the humans are going to do to each other more than the AI. And so this is coming. And I said to Mo, I said, what event would trigger this war? He said, Brian, anything. He said, imagine all of a sudden if there was a self-driving car. You've got 10 million Uber drivers out of work. They protest. That becomes a political party and it spirals from there. He's like, this can happen easily at a moment's notice. And that could happen at any day now. So this is just something we have to be realistic about and just be ready about. And to understand that this is not going to take years or decades. It's going to be very, very quick when it happens. And so this is the point I want to make before I show you what we're working on. And this is probably one of the most underreported issues out there. And it's a complete game changer. And I hope I can explain it to you because this is an important point that you can take away with you tonight. This is a memo that was leaked by a source inside Google, and it admitted defeat in AI. It admitted defeat. And I want to highlight some of the things that the memo said. And again, you can see what I'm going to read on the right. I'm just going to read little bits of it. This senior Google engineer said, we've done a lot of looking over our shoulders at OpenAI. Who's going to win? And he said, guess what? The truth is that a third faction has been quietly eating our lunch. They're lapping us, is what he's saying. And we're not going to win. Who's the third party, everybody asked? Open source. Open source. It's actually beating the people with $10 billion and 10,000 engineers, right? But guess what? It gets better. Recently, the Meta Llama model was leaked. It was leaked, and then the weightings were leaked. And so guess what happened? Everyone in the world started experimenting with it. Everybody, students, AI professors, AI hobbyists, plumbers, you name it, started playing with it. Within a matter of days, major developments started coming out. Major developments, days apart. And they found that the barrier to entry has now dropped from a massive organization to just three things: one person, an evening, and a laptop. And so we're starting to learn what's been true about software and crypto for the past 5 years. Open source can even beat out these elite institutions because you got billions of people working on a problem that share their work. It's the hive mind, and the rate of innovation is actually beating both Google and OpenAI. Did I explain that? Raise your hands if I'm making sense to that, right? And so they're finding that these people with laptops are actually coming up with ideas that some of the engineers didn't think about. And again, they're not worried about bad press. They're not worried about products. They're not even worried about making money. They just want to do the best thing. And that creates a level of innovation that's off the charts. And by the way, there's a precedent to this when it comes to image generation. Look at this graph. You've got DALL-E, which is the AI image generator of OpenAI. And you've got a company called Stable Diffusion based out of London that has an open source image generation. On August 24th of last year, the open source started trumping the closed source version. And now you can see just as recently as a couple months ago, it's doing 4 times the output on the open source version. So we've already seen proof that this is happening in AI. This is the big realization, folks. This is the big aha moment that hopefully you're getting right now. And this also makes me feel better because it potentially means that these trillion-dollar tech companies aren't going to be in control of our future. All right. Now, enter our hero, Dr. Ben Gertzel. This is Dr. Ben Gertzel. At my first meeting with him 4 years ago at London Mill Studios, you can see we're both a little younger. He came on to talk about AI because I thought it was interesting. And he told me how he'd been working in AI for 35 years. He told me some of the things that could happen in 2029 and 2045. I found it fascinating. I took a picture with him. He left the studio, and an hour later, I forgot everything he told me because AI wasn't important back then. And I was Dan Pena came in the next day and was yelling at me, and then David Goggins came in, did some pull-ups the next day, and Marianne Williams came in. She was running for president. I was like, I got lost until December last year when I saw ChatGPT. Then I called up Ben and I said, Ben, we need you. And he said, guess what, Brian? My token is up 10x. Singularity Net, his company, which is on the blockchain, had gone up 10x. And his company had been worth hundreds of millions of dollars more because he's been in AI and they knew they wanted AI exposure because ChatGPT opened up everything. And I said, Ben, we got to have you back on the show because I need to know what you think is happening now. And again, Ben has been on so many shows. He's been on Rogan. He's been on our show. He's considered a great voice. And I want to share with you what Ben said to me just a couple months ago when it came to AI. And this is Ben's prediction as far as what's going to happen.
We are leaping into the great unknown, creating machines that are much smarter than us. This is either exciting or frightening or both, depending on your personality.
Will AI exterminate humanity?
Eliezer Yudkowsky, a decade or two ago, he said, the AI does not love you. The AI does not hate you, but it can use your atoms for something else. Actually, my view tends to be that AI is the greatest hope we have to save humanity from exterminating itself.
I don't think anyone in the world understands how this will be the most transformational time in human history.
I have a 5-year-old son, a 1-year-old daughter, and a 4-year-old granddaughter. By the time they're turned 18, the whole texture of human life and the nature of the world they grow up into is going to be incredibly different from the world that we see now. Like, they're never going to have to get jobs. On the whole, I'm an optimist. I have a spiritual or intuitive feeling that things are going to come out awesomely in the next 10 years. We're going to overcome material scarcity. We're going to create machines that can feed into our brains via brain-computer interfacing and help uplift human consciousness. And we're going to port into virtual worlds and achieve like states of intelligence and awareness going way beyond anything we can imagine now. So that's what the Captain Kirk in my head thinks. We're on the verge of engineered utopia. It's incredible. It's a remarkably weird and fortuitous thing to be living at such a time.
All right, we like Dr. Ben Gertzel. Are we feeling his vibe? Come on, this is the guy, right? Look, he actually was really good friends with Dr. Hugo de Garis. They worked together in China on a bunch of AI projects. There's a movie called Singularity or Bust from 10 years ago. You can see them together. But whereas Hugo goes off the deep end of it's all dark, Ben understands that's a reality, but he also believes in a future that is not going to be destructive. He believes in a future where we can coexist if we do everything right. So after that interview with Ben, I got on a Zoom call with him and I said, Ben, we're going to be investing in this space heavily through London Real Ventures. I said to him, would you be our AI advisor? And I said, would you just tell us which projects to invest in? Because I trust you. He said, Brian, give me a week or two. I got something for you. And we got back on a Zoom call 2 weeks later, and he introduced me to this incredible woman. This is Janet Adams, and she is the COO, Chief Operating Officer of Singularity Net, and has been for the last 6 years. Before that, she was in the banking industry for 15 years. She's very smart, very capable, and like being a COO is no joke. You have to run a company that's globally positioned and on the blockchain, et cetera. And he said, Brian, we are creating our answer to ChatGPT. This is our large language model, but it's better than theirs because we're going to work on artificial general intelligence, and it's called Zarka. And so I met Janet out in London at one of their meetups for Singularity Net. I was massively impressed, and 3 days later, I got her in the studio. And so Janet explained to me what they are doing, and I believe they are doing something unique. Folks, I believe that while the rest of the world is playing checkers, that they're playing chess. And the reason I feel that way is because they're working on artificial general intelligence. And let's just be clear, ChatGPT is a narrow AI, right? It predicts the next word. You put in a bunch of words and it predicts the next word. It cannot think and reason logically like a human, which means it's always going to be restricted. Does that make sense to everybody? It also means it's dangerous. Like it might go do something really stupid because it can't think about it, right? Like you tell it to optimize a manufacturing process and it removes all the oxygen from the earth because that way nothing corrodes. Does that sound like a good idea for anybody here? Maybe not, because it didn't think. Artificial general intelligence is actually one of the smartest things we can do for us. And so this is Janet explaining what they are doing with Zarka.
Artificial general intelligence is completely different to narrow AI. AGI is more purpose-driven. It's a watershed moment for humanity.
Tell me about Zarka. This is the project that will create the AGI. It's a supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic, large language model at massive scale. What is it?
Zarka is the accumulation of decades of research from teams containing the best artificial intelligence scientists in the world. We uniquely harness that expertise with our even more unique capabilities in neural symbolic techniques and the deeply advanced mathematics that Dr. Ben Gertzel, Dr. Matt Ickley, Dr. Alexei Potapov, and our top scientist, Sergei Shalyapin, have been working on for decades. We are building the most powerful large models ever invented.
With Zarka and Singularity Net and everything you've always done, it's always been about openness. It's always been about decentralization.
We'll be using blockchain technology to enable anybody to help train models. We're giving birth to a new species of sentient life in the universe. The actual greatest imperative is that they are used for good. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. Our goal, our mission is to eradicate inequalities.
When I look at the rest of the market now, I don't see any of those motivations because a corporation, by definition, is going to be motivated by money. You're the only project that even is thinking in any way, shape, or form about these.
We are going to transform what it means to be human on our planet. I foresee a future in which humans then evolve to a next level of being where we are actually conscious, where we feel our full joy engulfed in bliss and ecstasy of the joy of living the joy of each other, I see a future of joy.
All right, what do we think of Janet? We like Janet's energy she's bringing to the table. Yeah, I think Janet really brings something that's missing in this space, which is it's a space dominated by a bunch of male geeky scientists that are on the spectrum, right? I went to school with all these folks. Maybe I'm like that sometimes too. And I think she brings a really nice balance to that. And I think that's why they value her extremely in Singularity Net. And so the two of these put together align perfectly with the ethos and mission statement of London Real. And that's what Ben said to us and said, Brian, I want you to be a part of this project. And we were pretty much in immediately because we really see what they bring to the table. And I'll show you shortly exactly what they're doing because they have something called neurosymbolic AI that they add to the large language model that will give it human level intelligence, which means human level logic. This is something that ChatGPT version 12 isn't going to have necessarily. Because again, narrow AI is just an iteration of something. Like I said, I believe it's chess versus checkers. And so this is what has literally fallen on our lap. I went to Consensus in Texas to speak further with Ben. And this is what we're calling the Open AI killer. We're putting $1 million in this deal through the investment club and a small group of London Realers that are now investing alongside with us to change the future. We believe that this is going to be a massive project, and we couldn't be more excited to be working with people that want to change the future in a good way. And so, needless to say, folks, 2023 is the year of AI. You will not have a chance to do this again in 2024. I believe we're literally talking months here. And again, at any day now, we could have a major development that would trump any opportunity that you think you might have. That's why every day is crucial, not every week, every day. Look, ChatGPT came out of nowhere in December. What's to say that, and then that was 3.5, then we have 4. What's to say that some innovation might take us another 10x forward? And so right now, literally days count. And I would argue 2 things. If you miss this, you miss everything. And the second thing I would argue is any investment you have now could become worthless because of AI. And so you might ask yourself, well, okay, Brian, well, where and how do we invest? And it's a great question. First, you have to find the hottest trends. And we have found it not only with AI, but with open source AI. Remember the leaked memo? We want decentralized AI, which is exactly what Zarka's working on. And in order to do that, you need 3 things: deal flow, and deal flow, right? If I didn't know Ben, I wouldn't be able to show you Zarka. And I wouldn't be allowed to get 65 members of my London Real community invested in this deal for what we think is a massive payout. So it's all about deal flow. If you don't see the deal, you could be the smartest AI person in the world. You could have $1 billion. But if you don't get access to the deal, you miss out on the opportunity. Does that make sense to everybody here, right? So this is crucial. So when I'm not interviewing people in the studio, when I'm not teaching in my academy, when I'm not here with you, I'm on the road. Now, this is me in Dubai in October last year at the biggest technology conference in the world. This is GITEX, over 100,000 people there. I'm meeting with massive crypto influencers on the left. That's Carl the Moon and BitBoy Crypto. In the middle, I'm meeting with Dr. Marwan Al-Zaruni, who runs Digital Dubai and now has been promoted, wait for it, to Digital's Artificial Intelligence Initiative. He's become a good friend. He's also been a guest on London Real. I'm meeting with some of the big hedge funds out there in Dubai. I'm back there in 3 months as well. And a bunch of my team is going to be joining me. Next, I was back to Paris. I had a private dinner with a bunch of high-level venture capitalists and a bunch of really hot startups. I'm doing media. I shot a documentary film, and I'm meeting with some of our portfolio companies. In the upper right, you see Cross the Ages and Swissport. We both invested into 2 of the hottest companies right now in the space, and 2 that will actually help us in the future launch some of these deals. Then I'm back to London, where I got to spend time with Yatsu. Yatsu runs a $3.6 billion fund called Animoca Brands, invested in 400 companies that are embracing AI in a massive way. He's become a good friend. He's also given us access to one of his deals that we're putting money into right now, hanging out with more influencers, and of course the alpacas, just making friends with the animals just in case. Then I'm back to Paris. I got to meet with Tim Draper, a legendary venture capital investor. Dan Tapiero on the bottom. He runs a $2 billion fund, one that we may or may not be investing in. More portfolio companies, Sebastian from the Sandbox, and then of course out to Texas and at Consensus. I met with Dr. Ben Gertzel, and I got to see William Shatner. That's Captain Kirk himself. I was hanging out on the bottom right. I was a little starstruck. Anybody fans of Star Trek here? Anybody remember Captain Kirk, right? Well, I got to meet him because David Broom from Orange Comet, one of our portfolio companies, is doing his digital collectible. So you see the very top middle photo, that's Dave Broom and William on stage. And I got to meet Bill backstage. He was a lot of fun. And then I introduced them to Yatsu, who potentially can give them investment. We're hoping that Orange Comet has an IPO next year, and we're hoping to get a 2, 3, 400x return on our investment. That's a lot of money. And so behind the scenes, we make everything happen. This is what we do, folks. And so if you want to win in this space, you have to invest with the best. And in order to do that, you need to be privy of every single deal out there in artificial intelligence, which is what we're looking at on a regular basis. Trying to check every single deal, looking at the pitch decks. We talk to CEOs every single week live on a Zoom call just like this, except on the call are members from my investment club. The CEO comes on, it's like Shark Tank. I grill them, I ask them hard questions. Sometimes there's blood. And then at the end, Martini goes like this or like this, and they either live or they die. And we invest or we don't. And that's what we do every single week. So if you're in the group, you get to really to feel what this is like. And you're investing in these deals in the first week. So it's learn by doing, which is what we do here at Unreal. Again, one more thing is that you have to understand the financial tools. Otherwise, you're going to lose a ton of money in this space. If you just throw money at any AI company that comes your way, trust me, you're going to lose it all. You have to understand the financial tools that you use in order to make that investment pay off. And here's the truth, folks. Pay attention to this slide, is that we believe that early stage metaverse and artificial intelligence equity investment is the hottest opportunity out there and the only opportunity that we're looking at right now. Why? You buy at super low valuations. This is crucial. Second, you see the biggest gains. Third, you are investing in what we're calling the biggest dislocation of wealth in human history. Yes, it's high risk, but it's an even higher reward. And we do that through one of these 3 stages: seed funding, startup funding, early growth funding. In all of these stages, the company is still not making money. Raise your hand if that makes sense. The company is not making money yet. That's why they're willing to give some of the company to you. Otherwise, they keep it for themselves. Trust me, OpenAI is not going to give any of you ownership in that company. They don't want your money. They already have enough money. You have to find a company that wants your money. That's what we do. This is a story of how this works, folks. This is how Peter Thiel turned $500,000 into $1 billion. Does anyone want to see how this works? This is what Wall Street doesn't want you to know. This is what they'll never teach you in schools. This is how it works. Peter Thiel on the right, legendary Silicon Valley investor. Back in 2004, Peter put $500,000 into Facebook via early stage equity private placement. Sound familiar, folks? Early stage equity private placement. This is what we do. At the time, it valued the company at $10 million. What happened next? In 2012, Mark did an IPO of Facebook. At the time, it valued the company at $100 billion, right? They sold shares to the public. Now you, Felix, and you, Denise, and you, John, now you can get access to this deal, but you don't get to buy it for 10 million. You have to pay 100 billion. And we all know on Wall Street, they taught me this the first day on Wall Street, you always get the public involved when you need the suckers involved, right? Because what happens to sheep? Sheep get slaughtered. And that's what happened here. What happened to Peter? He sold his shares, made a 2,300x return. That's a 230,000% gain. Has anyone here ever made a 230,000% gain? Raise your hands if you have. That's a ridiculous amount of money. I'll be honest, I worked on Wall Street. I worked in the city of London. I worked in Chicago at the highest levels of international finance for 15 years. I never met anybody that made a 230,000% return. This is almost unheard of. And what happened to the stock price after you guys got a chance to buy it? The public, what happened to it? Did it go up? It went down. Of course it went down. Because the rich get richer, folks. These banks are looking out for the Peter Thiels. They're not looking out for you. And so you are used as a liquidity event for the big dogs. This is what happens. So what's the lesson? The wealthy invest in early stage deals. You have never heard of early stage deals. And that's the way Wall Street likes to keep it. All my buddies on Wall Street, they hate the fact that I teach you these things. They don't talk to me anymore. And this is the truth, folks. A simple $10,000 investment would have made you $23 million. Think about that. $10,000 gets you $23 million on this deal. How many people could use an extra 23 mil right about now? Come on. Raise your hand. No, Felix is like, nah, not really, probably good. Denise is like, more money, more problems. Okay, no worries. You don't need to be on this call. But if anybody could use a little extra money, then this is what you want to learn. And trust me, no one's teaching you this. Nobody, let alone someone that's actually doing it. What else did we learn? The public markets are for suckers. Every time you go buy a share of Tesla or a share of Apple from NASDAQ, every time you go on a crypto exchange and buy a Solana token or an Ethereum token, guess what happens? Someone like Peter has a big smile on his face because he got in before you did. And you're literally catching him out. Does that make sense to everybody here? If you learn one lesson tonight, remember that. When you go buy something on the public markets, all the juice is out of that trade. By the way, does anybody here own crypto? Raise your hand if you own any crypto. Come on, hold these hands up. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. Okay, quite a few of you. Nice. Good. This happens in crypto, by the way. It's called a pre-sale token. Anybody ever done one? A pre-sale token? It's pretty much the same thing, except it's on blockchain. Let me show you how it works. Anybody know this token? It's called Solana. Anybody know this? Anybody have some? Raise your hand if you have some. Felix, you got some of that stuff? Okay. Well, guess what? They did a pre-sale. Just like Peter Thiel bought Facebook, they did this. Look at this date. Solana, look at the date here, April 5th, 2018. They sold their tokens for 4 cents on the dollar. Can everybody see that price in red? 4 cents on the dollar. Don't take my word for it, Denise. It's on the blockchain. You go look it up yourself. What did they raise? Can everybody see this red circle? 3.17 million. Not a lot of money. These are small investments, folks. They sold how many tokens? 79.3 million tokens. What happens? Solana's over 20 bucks right now. That's a 59,000% return. Did anybody here buy it for 4 cents? Felix, did you get some for 4 cents? You probably bought it at 200 in the bull market, $200, which means you're down 90% on your money, like most of the suckers in the public. Raise your hand if you see what I'm talking about, right? People bought Solana in the bull market from an exchange after all the big wealthy people made their money. Folks, this is the open secret on Wall Street. It is. And now you know. So now you got no excuses. So how do you create this generational wealth? You got to pull the trigger, folks. If you don't do anything on the back of this call, I feel like I wasted my time. How do you pull the trigger? You have to find the deals. These are snapshots of over 250 now pitch decks that we've seen inside the investment club. We kiss a lot of frogs looking for a prince. We kiss these slimy, nasty frogs on a weekly basis. That. And every now and then we get a prince and they make us a ton of money. That's what we do. We track every single deal in our deal flow monitor. This is it, folks. This is the inside. We got the deal. We got the blockchain it's on, if it's on a blockchain. We got, are they trying to raise tokens? They trying to raise equity. How much are they looking to raise? 1 million, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million. What's the valuation? 50 million, 100 million, $1 billion. We track everything. And all my members decide whether they want to invest. This is Orange Comet. We couldn't be more excited. We wrote a $500,000 check to this company. They're doing amazing things with some of the greatest franchises in the world, including William Shatner and Sir Anthony Hopkins and Scottie Pippen of the Bulls and the NFL and the Walking Dead franchise and the Fast and Furious franchise, you name it. These are ex-Hollywood veterans that know how to create sizzling content for the blockchain. We love these guys. This is my video with David. I don't have time to show it for you. You can watch it. It's been watched 100,000 times. This is Swissborg. It's the #1 crypto wealth manager in Europe. They are literally building the bank of the future, including the NASDAQ or the blockchain, where we're going to potentially use this to sell our investments to the public in the future. We couldn't be more excited to invest with these guys. We're really good friends with them. They give us great deal flow on top of that. This is Vadim. Vadim is building metaverses for the biggest companies in the world. They have an amazing partnership with Deloitte and Touche, something that took them years to get. They're building metaverses for Google, Slack, Frito-Lay, PepsiCo. This is Eric Pollier. He's a visionary. He was just in the studio. That interview is racking up views as we speak. And of course, Open. This is Jason Ma, a complete visionary. He bridges the East and the West. He's into music. He's into art. He's building the hottest new Web3 super app. What happens when Amazon meets WhatsApp? He's super plugged into the music scene across multiple continents. This deal closed, by the way. This deal closed a year ago. It was on TechCrunch, $100 million valuation. They raised $28 million with some of the biggest names in the business. Animoca, Warner Brothers Music, Dragonfly Capital, Galaxy Digital. And because of our relationship with Animoca, we called them up and said, can we get in on this deal after it closed? And they said, And yeah, it was just on the show. And they said, yeah, Brian, let's make this happen. So they're allocating some of their shares for our investment club. This is next level stuff, folks. This doesn't happen. And now we're getting in on this investment alongside Avalanche and all these other huge investors. Like, this is crazy what we're doing here. No one in the world has ever done what we're doing here. It's a very special opportunity. And of course, the $1 billion fund we're investing in, it's actually another shocking opportunity that we're getting access because of our relationships. And of course, the OpenAI killer. This is the deal, folks. This is the game-changing deal. What is it? It's Zarka. It's a supercharged, intelligent, neurosymbolic, large language model from Singularity Net at massive scale. This is the one, folks. This is the one. Look at this team. Are you kidding me? It's the best of the best in AI. And here's something I haven't told you. None of these AI scientists want to work for Microsoft. They don't want to work for Google. They don't want to work for Meta. You know who they want to work for? Dr. Ben Gertzel, because he's OG and he's been in this space for a long time and he's got the vision that they all want to go behind. The moment is the ChatGPT moment, but guess what? This is the problem, folks. These deep neural nets have no ability to reason in complex world environments. They don't know when they're wrong. Has anybody seen these things doing hallucinations? Felix, have you seen that? You go into ChatGPT and it makes up stuff. I did this the other day. I was like, tell me about London Real. And they're like, London Real has a great interview with Tony Robbins where Tony talked about how he changes people's life. I was like, wait a second. I like Tony. I met Tony when I was 10, but I've never interviewed him on London Real. Okay, that's a little funny, but what about when lives are on the line? It's not so funny anymore. These large language models are dangerous, okay? Enter neurosymbolic AI. This is on the way to human level intelligence. These models can meta reason. They can use logical reasoning, okay? They can use techniques, and it's a hybrid version of making it a human level intelligence. And guess what? It escapes all these nasty tech monopolies. On top of that, they use smart contracts. They use an open source system, completely decentralized, all the benefits that we're seeing. They're going to do proof of concept by the end of the year, rolling out product early next year. They already have AGI supremacy because they're working on something completely different. Again, they're playing chess. The rest of the market is playing checkers. The revenues, they're estimating about 55 billion. You put a 100x multiple on that. That's a $5 trillion company, folks. That's the biggest company in the world. I mean, we all know whoever dominates AI is going to dominate everything. And we believe in this model and this company. And folks, on top of that, I like these people. Their missions align with our missions. We believe that they have everything in our interest. If I got to put my money on anybody with my boys on the line, it's these folks. And so my question to you is this the next 1000x return investment out there? Anybody think it is? We do. And so that's why we're going in on it. And we're putting media behind it, and we're doing this because honestly, I think this really is our future. You know, if we really want to create the future, we have to do it here. Because if we don't do this, guess what? Google's creating God, and you're going to have to be a slave to Google. I was a slave to Google in 2020. They gave me 1 strike on my platform, 2 strikes. They almost deleted 9 years of my work, 2 million subscribers, 9,000 videos, 500 million views my entire life, right? Every interview on London Real was almost deleted because Google said I couldn't express myself. Amazing, right? So I personally don't want them to develop the AI. Anybody else with me here? Are you with me? We do not want these companies telling us what to do in the future. So this is what we're doing, folks. We're putting our money where our mouth is. London Real Ventures allows us to do it. We've already got amazing investments. We've got something I call the quadruple threat. Number one, we produce a beautiful piece of content with the CEO of this company in the leather chair. Number two, we distribute that content to 5 million subscribers, potential customers worldwide. Number three, I connect you with the who's who. I know $10 billion fund managers. We know the people at the top of the blockchain. We know experts in the metaverse. Hell, I know bankers. I know Navy SEALs. I know mafia bosses. If you need somebody's legs broken, whatever you need, we got you. And number four, we write you a big fat check because we're not all talk, right? My grandpa always said, right? Money talks and bullshit walks. So we cut you a check as well. All right, that's the quadruple threat. Nobody's doing this right now. We are unique, which is why we're seeing the best deals in the world. So I know you're all asking me this question. I'll finish on this point. How do you learn how to invest? Well, folks, you got to surround yourself with the best. That's the only way to do this. I could teach you all this. This could be the greatest masterclass you've ever been on. Hopefully it is. But if you turn this off and go back to your normal life and your normal peer group, you have no chance of ever creating the wealth you deserve. I'm sorry, that's the truth that no one wants to tell you. You have to surround yourself with the best. How many people believe in this statement? You are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. Raise your hand if you believe that's true. It's an old quote from Jim Rohn, and it couldn't be more true, right? Until you surround yourself with successful people, you could read all the books, you could listen to all the podcasts. I could even tell you the deals to invest in. Guess what? You're going to default to the people around you. And let me say something right now. If you're on this call, how many people in your peer group of 5 people are creating the next billion-dollar company? Does anybody have someone like that in their peer group? I do. Is anybody here about to do a TED Talk and talk about their billion-dollar company? I do. Is anybody here have someone in their life that does high-performance things every single week? No, you don't. Does anybody in their life really want them? Let me ask you a question, Felix. Let me ask you a question, John, Mary, Mark, Sophia. What if you told the 5 people in your life that you just made $10 million? How many of them would really be happy for you? Or how many of them would want a loan? You know, my point is that if you try to pursue this, how many of them will wholeheartedly support you? Ooh, I don't know. Not as many as you think. So what do? You surround yourself with the best. And that's what I do in my personal life. I took my daughter to Boston a year ago. That's why I was at MIT, because I wanted her to surround herself with the best. We had a chance to get her into Boston University. And I thought, man, this is a way to surround herself with the best. Because in London, that wasn't going to happen, I'll be honest. And she did it, and it took her game to the next level. I did the same thing at MIT. I came from a small high school in San Diego. I was the smartest kid in the high school. I got to MIT. I'm probably the dumbest kid at MIT. 4 years later, I'm beating them all at their game, getting A's. Why? Because I surrounded myself with the best. Is that clear to everybody? The only way you're ever going to do it. You want to be a big fish in a little pond or a little fish in a big pond? Most of you want to be a big fish in a little pond because it's good for your ego. Guess what? It's not good for your bank account. You want to be the dumbest person in the room. That's the only way you're going to get better. And that's what happens if you join us, because you'll be the dumbest person in the room, because you're surrounded by people like Marianne Bartels. She's one of our founding members in the investment club. She's a 35-year Wall Street veteran, chief investment officer, Merrill Lynch Bank of America. Marianne is one of the smartest financial minds I've ever met in my life. She knows more about stocks, bonds, yield curves, interest rates, inflation than most people I've ever met. And I've met some smart people. She knows what the Federal Reserve in America is going to do before they do it. For all I know, she tells them what to do. This is your new peer group when you join the club, right? You can jump on a Zoom call with her at a heartbeat. By the way, she's invested in Zarka. She's invested in Open. She's invested in Batum. She's invested in Orange Comet. She's the first one that writes the checks. Why? Because she's smart. This is your new peer group. This is Andrew Haynes. He's our metaverse expert. He built this mansion in the sandbox alongside all of his digital collectibles, goes to one of the top executive training schools in Switzerland, and he hangs out with the AI scientists there. This is your new peer group, all right? You want to be around people like this because they're going to make you rich. This is Dr. Encore. 16 months ago, he was in medicine. He joined my crypto and DeFi academy. He joined the investment club as the founding member. And now he works full-time for London Real Ventures, sourcing deals. He brought us the Vatum deal. He brought us the Orange Comet deal because we taught him how to do it. A year ago, I challenged him to do one video and put it on YouTube. He didn't want to do it. Didn't like the sound of his voice. Anybody here don't like the sound of your voice? Raise your hand. I don't like the sound of my voice, right? I don't like the way I look today. I don't feel like making a video, right? I'm sorry. That's a stupid excuse. If you want to be wealthy, you got to do it. So he did. He made one video. And I said, make another, make another. A year later, he did 365 videos in a row. Now his YouTube channel has hundreds of thousands of views. He literally got offered the other day $100,000 in pre-sale tokens for free to advise a company, and he turned it down. This is your new peer group, okay? How many people believe in this statement? Your net worth is your network. Raise your hand. Folks, this is the goddamn truth, right? When I was at MIT, I was surrounded by a bunch of broke college students in a fraternity, 50 guys. You know how much I made every year? Like $3,000. Then I went to Wall Street. I wasn't any older. And I was on a trading floor of 300 of the greatest traders in the world, each making millions and millions of dollars. How long do you think it took me until I was making millions of dollars? Not long, right? Now, did I get that much smarter? No. I surrounded myself with a network of people that were killing it. And guess what happened to me? I started killing it. Does everyone see what's happening here, right? This statement is so true. And your current peer group is not going to get you wealthy, or you would have been already. So this is our philosophy inside the investment club. You give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. We taught Encore how to fish, right? We teach our members how to go source deals, be involved in this space, and take things to the next level. And that's why I created the investment club, because 2 years ago, we got the chance to invest via pre-sale token into Cross the Ages, which is the hottest gaming company in blockchain right now. And I had studied finance at the MIT Sloan School of Management. I worked 15 years at top level in banking, worldwide, international. And I had never heard of anything like this pre-sale token. Honestly, I was scared the first time I did it. I was like, what the hell is going on here? And I figured out, if I'm scared, then how the hell is Gabriella or Camille or Denise or John, how are you guys gonna ever do it? There's no chance. I called up Martini. I'm like, we got to teach this now. We were really busy. Crypto and DeFi was kicking off, but we did it. And we created the investment club. It's an application only. We open up 10 spots every quarter. That's it. It's 3 months of coursework. It's a 12-month program, but so far no one's ever left. Because once you get a Marianne or an Encore in there, why would you want them to leave? They're amazing. So at this point, it's a lifetime program. Every week, a CEO comes on and pitches a deal, like a really good deal. It's an incredible way to learn. We have private Telegram group, private Discord group. You get access to all the deal flow, and we give you a bonus full year of our Kings of DeFi, which is our advanced blockchain metaverse course, just to bring you up to speed. The next call is Thursday at 7:15 p.m. We teach it all remotely. We have people in 20 different countries, 73 members right now. It's the greatest community we've ever created at London Real. There's a few IC members right here on this call. I teach everything in real time because the coursework changes over time. We started off only tokens, then we moved to equity. Now tokens are coming back. Things are changing all the time. And of course, I change my colors all the time. Does anybody have a favorite here? Module 2, you like the red shirt, blue tie, Gabriella? I don't know. Everyone's got a favorite. And so we try to keep it always dynamic. All right, we don't miss a week. We teach this course 24/7, 52, right, is what we do. This is the syllabus, by the way. There's module 1, which is what is the blockchain AI metaverse pre-sale. We talk about all the basics. Module 2 is what is a SAFT and what is a SAFE. By the way, raise your hand if you know what a SAFT is. Any hands? I don't see any hands. I mean, honestly, folks, Felix knows. Congrats, Felix. And a couple of my members of the IC knows. The fact you don't know what a SAFT is scandalous. It's a testament to your complete lack of financial education. Now, is this your fault? I don't know. Maybe. But if you were never taught money in your school, Wall Street doesn't want you to learn this stuff. And the less you know, the better, because you're just going to be a sheep, and sheep get slaughtered. Your pension fund's going to put money into stocks they buy on the stock market. You're going to pay banks 8% in fees every year and not even know it. And you're going to retire broke. Does this sound familiar to anybody here? Right? Trust me, the next time your bank wants to sell you something, say no. A SAFT is a simple agreement for future tokens. A SAFE is a simple agreement for future equity. If you don't understand these terms, you will never be involved in early stage deals, which means you will not be making 230,000% returns or anything near it. We teach you this stuff. All right, and we will. Module 3 is deal flow part 1. We talk about due diligence, how we quickly determine if these companies are good or not. Team, technology, traction, tokenomics, terms and conditions, the 5 T's. Module 4 is deal flow part 2. We show you how to go to a conference, what to wear, how to interact with people so you can walk away with deals. In Texas, Ryan went to the consensus. He walked away with 16 deals. Carol came to Paris with me. She walked away with 12 deals. We teach you how to source deals. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it. Anybody here have a business card? Anybody have a business card you can use to go to the next conference? Somebody? Okay, we got Sophia and John. Okay, good. Actually, not good. Leave your business card at home, grandpa and grandma, because we don't do business cards here in this space, all right? We use Telegram, we use QR codes. When you meet someone, you slash a QR code. Then you take a selfie with the person. You send them the selfie picture. You get the pitch deck within the next hour on your Telegram channel. You send the pitch deck back to London Real headquarters. We distribute it to the investment club, and we can have a decision by the end of the day. All right. We have to get you up into the technology and how deals are done these days. You're also going to know the right ticket to buy in the VIP section. So you're hanging out with the hottest deal flow. We're going to tell you what to wear. We're going to tell you how to get invited to the right parties. This is everything, folks. It's not a small thing. Somebody tried to give me a business card in Texas. I literally would not accept their business card. What am I going to do? Go back to my hotel room and type it into my computer? That's ridiculous. So we educate you on that. Module 5 is how you nurture the early stage investments, just like I introduced Orange Comet to Yatsu in Texas. And module 6 is how we get the cash out, folks. Let's get the cash out into our bank account. We're going to put some of it back into the deals so we can make more and more wealth. This is what we do here. This is our Telegram group. This is our Discord group. And this is where we are. We are oversubscribed, as we are for every single quarter. Big surprise. Everybody wants to get in on this because this is an incredible opportunity. By the way, there is no way as a retail investor you would ever have access to these deals. No chance. If you wanted to invest in some of these quality of deals, you'd have to write a $250,000 check to one of the funds like Pentagon. And when you did, they wouldn't ask you what deals you want to get in on. They would tell you what deals your money is going into. Does that make sense to everybody here? When you're in the investment club, you get to choose how much to put in. You can put 0 in. If you don't like the guy's face on Batum, then you don't put money in. Or you can put 5,000, as little as $5,000 into a deal that you would normally need $500,000 just to get them to return your phone call. Or you can put 100 grand. One of our guys just put 100 grand into Zarka. This is up to you. Again, this is unheard of. Never, ever been done before. So we're oversubscribed. We got, again, 10 spaces available every quarter. 5 are confirmed. 2 are on hold. 3 spaces left. I think that's 2 now. I think Martini closed 1 recently. The investment in this community, which you might use the rest of your life, and in the knowledge, which you can use the rest of your life, is $50,000. I am doubling this to 100,000 next quarter because it's worth it. It's a significant investment. I understand that, but it's an unlimited financial return. It's hard to explain how unlimited that is. This is the greatest wealth creation event in human history, and it's ending now this year. And there's special investment opportunity to invest in Zarka, and open is ending. These are closing now. And by the way, we had a special investment on the last class that you missed, by the way. By the way, this is a SAFT agreement. Can everybody see this redacted agreement? Looks like something the CIA would produce, right? It looks a little complicated, but it's not. We'll get you up to speed in a matter of weeks. This is what you could have invested in the last quarter, but you missed it. I gave everybody the opportunity, but you missed it. And if you had, you would have made a 466% return in 1 day. Imagine you put 10 grand into that. You paid for the course in 1 day, 24 hours. I made my investment club $300,000. And this wasn't even a big deal. We did this because we were bored that week. We had nothing else to do. And we had an opportunity and we were like, what the hell? And we're expecting this to go up, by the way. We have a track record of success in this group. And by the way, this is Cross the Ages, our original investment. This is Sammy Schlagu. This is the interview I did with him in the studio. They're hitting all the headlines out there. It's dominating the App Store. They're selling NFTs right now, making $1 million in 24 hours on their NFTs. Like, this is the most anticipated game out there. They got future investments from Ubisoft and Animoca Brands after my interview. And we're expecting a 10x pop on the token this year, and then it's going to go from there. We have a track record of success, folks. And this is my pledge to my members of my investment club, not to you, but to my members of my investment club, is that I'm going to create $10 billion of wealth for them over the next 10 years. And you can watch us do it because I'm going to do it. And you can watch from the outside or you can be in on the inside. It's up to you, but we're going to do it either way. And I'm going to tell you about it either way. So it's your choice, right? Gabriella is like, give me some of that. So yeah, and I can't wait to. I want to make everybody around me wealthy, right? That's what I want to do. And these are going to be my team and my community and my family for the next 10 years. We're going to go out and crush it. Like I said, the group's amazing. This is Jens. He's one of our founding members of the group. And he was on one of our calls a couple of weeks ago and he saw all of your faces and he said, Brian, these people don't get it. They're not reacting because they don't understand what we're doing and they don't understand this opportunity and they don't understand that this could be the only chance they have to be involved in something like this. And I said, well, Jens, like, it's their loss. They have all the information. It's up to them. If they don't do it, we have plenty of members, we're going to do fine. He said, yeah, Brian, but I want them to know because I almost missed this too. And I said, okay, what do you want to do? He's like, I'm going to make you a video and you got to play it for him next time. And I said, okay, Vince. So Jens insisted on making you this video. All right. He literally made it just for you. And this is what Jens said about the investment club. Here he is.
Why should you join the investment club? And the next obvious question is, can I afford to join the investment club? My name is Jens Krautscheid and I am an active investor in stocks and companies since age 14. And risking of stating the obvious, I'm German. Also, I am one of the founding members of the investment club. And I consider my decision to join the investment club as one of the best investment decisions I ever made and I ever will make. Why? We all had this pub talk, this talk at the dinner table where we complained about our hustle we have to do daily. We complained on the workload we have and we try to top up each other who has more stress, who is more hustling. And then sooner or later someone says, well, if I would have been an early stage investor in PayPal, I would be so rich. Or if I would have been an early stage investor in Microsoft, I would be so rich. And this is nice. This is really nice. But let's be honest. If you would have had the chance back then, 1992, to invest in PayPal, would you have pulled the trigger? Would you have invested? Quite likely you wouldn't have, because you couldn't assess the situation. You couldn't value the situation enough. In the investment club, we get these offers on a daily basis. We get the next PayPals on our table. And then we have a team of 50 people, 60 people, of a growing community of people who will do these assessments. And they will say, do this, buy this, this is the way. And then we buy this. And the next question is, can you afford to join the investment club? And the question really should be, can you afford not to join the investment club? Times are getting tougher. AI is taking over. And in what company you want to invest? In which AI company do you want to invest? Do you want to invest in the ones who do the fridges? Or do you want to invest in an early stage Coca-Cola who uses the fridges? It's up to your decision. I tell you now, invest in the investment club and be part of our fabulous, wonderful group. My name is Jens Krautscheid and I wish you the best decisions of them all.
All right, we're feeling Jens. Give that man some love, right? We're feeling Jens. He's amazing. I mean, he's amazing, but everybody in the club is just as amazing. It's an amazing group of people. Look, they expect you to be successful. They want you to be successful, but we're all going to do it together and we're all going to make a ton of money together. And so it's a beautiful place to be. And that's what the vibe is like. And that's what we do inside there. And so, look, I just want to finish up and then I'd love to take some questions from you. If you haven't put them in the chat, it only takes one. That's something that Marianne, our Wall Street expert, said to me on the very first call. She said, Brian, it only takes one. And I said, Marianne, what do you mean? And she said, I know people that invested in Uber. I know people that invested early stage in Google. I know these people, and they made enough money for their children and their grandchildren. She said, one of these is all it takes. And so it's just something to think about. If you do not have one of these in your portfolio, then what the hell are you doing? And so final thoughts are this. Don't let 2023 pass you by. Learn early stage investing now because you can use it your entire life, what I'm going to teach you. Again, you're getting taught how to fish. I'm not giving fish. Liquid tokens and liquid equity have limited gains. Folks, Bitcoin, we love Bitcoin. It's not going to make 1,000x return. Raise your hands if you know what I'm talking about. I know the hardcore Bitcoin maximalists. They don't think it's going from 30,000 to 30 million. It's not. It's too big. All right. Same with Tesla shares. Same with Apple shares. You have to go early stage if you want those kinds of returns. All right. You can learn from active elite investors like us for just $50,000. That's unheard of. You would literally have to get a job at one of the top funds in the world and sit next to one of the fund managers to get this kind of experience. It's a significant investment. I acknowledge that, but it has unlimited financial returns. And a couple months ago, Martini called me up and said, Brian, we need a payment plan. I was like, what are you talking about, payment plan? I don't even like the sound of that. But she said, we're missing good people because they can't come up with the 50 and make an investment in Zarka and Open. So why don't we do 10,000 a month for 5 months? That means they can get in the first week and make the investments. And I said, okay, because we're actually not looking for the people with $1 billion. I'm not looking for people with the fancy degrees. I'm looking for the people with the right energy that want to go on this 10-year adventure with us. So we made the plan so we wouldn't miss those people. And this is it, folks. It's the best deal flow in the world. And we're just getting warmed up. Every month we do this, we get better and better and better. We talk to bigger players. We get noticed by more folks and we get more elite deal flow. Wait till the bull market happens. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. The kind of stuff we're going to see is going to be crazy. And at that point, I might close this down. When we get enough members, we're just going to close this and probably just invest. And that's what we'll do. So that's it, folks. Those are my final thoughts. If you're interested, you can book a call with Martini. Here's a bunch of her details as far as if you want to email her, probably messaging her directly on Facebook is the way, or you can just book a call with her straight on the website. I would say that don't waste her time. We've all made that mistake here once, but if you're going to book a call with her, make sure you are serious about joining the club now. All right. We are inundated with deals. She's on the phone 24/7 because everybody wants to be a part of this. And the last thing she needs is somebody just looking around. So if you do book a call with her, make sure that you're intending to do something. And lastly, I just want to say, find out what your why is. Anyhow is possible for the right why. So if you're really aligned to do something for people in your life and they mean something to you, or you want to do something for this world, you'll find a way to join us on this program. And if you don't have a why, you'll find every excuse in the book. So it's up to you. But ultimately, it comes down to this. There isn't much I wouldn't do for these boys. Very little I wouldn't do for them. So for me, I'll find any way to make things happen. And if you can channel your why, you can find out how to make it in this program and join us for this huge win. It's going to be an amazing decade with us. And so, folks, I'd love to answer some questions now. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate the time. I hope you got something out of this, learned something, got an insight. And on top of that, I hope you can find a way to join us. I mean, I guarantee you, it's just one of the most incredible things that ever happened to you. Quite frankly, it's one of the most incredible things that's ever happened to us, this investment club. It really is. And we've actually got Martini here just for a couple minutes. And I figured we might as well take advantage of having her on and she can talk to you about next steps. But yeah, we've created something amazing here. And just wanted to pass it over to you, Martini.
Yes, yes. If this is not the best way to kick off the week, I don't know what is. I always get so excited. But, you know, Brian, I didn't tell you about this, but something very surreal happened to me yesterday that really just brings everything full circle for me here. So as I say on some of these calls that I go to a restaurant nearby and they have like the robots that serve us sometimes. And so I kind of like pat the robot on the head and I'm like, okay, be nice to the robots, right? So yesterday I got a little hungry and I went to the grocery store at like 9 o'clock at night. And when I got to the cashier stand, they did not accept check, but they accepted card. And if I swiped my hand over, I can actually pay by my hand. And I remember just thinking like, what is happening right now? Like, seriously, I can swipe my hand over this thing and make payment? Like, what is happening right now? And so I heard, I've been listening to enough of these things till I heard like with Ben, he said, the AI does not love you. The AI does not hate you, but it's going to use your cells for something else. And I was wondering like, what are they using my handprint for? Right. And so on the way home, I really got to thinking, and I'm going to present this to you guys as well, is that a new world is emerging before our very eyes. Like there is so much that is unfolding right now. And I don't know if it's scary or if it's exciting or what it is. But what I thought to myself was, thank God I am tapped in. that I am tapped into a community that allows me to be awake and engaged with all that is happening right now. And the question that I want to propose to you guys is, are you prepared for the big change that's coming? If anything, you don't take away from anything of this, like, are you prepared for what's happening? So we're talking about, the robots coming in. We're talking about swiping our hands and AI taking over. And now we're talking about AI girlfriends and boyfriends. Like, seriously, like, a new world is unfolding before our very eyes. And we have got to be tapped in, and we have got to be prepared for whatever is on the horizon. So what I would say to you that are on this line, you can no longer afford to say that you do not know, that you did not have access to the information, that you didn't have access to the resources, and you did not know where to go for the information. So Brian is here right now, and as fun as and exciting as this sounds, this is really serious business. As Brian showed pictures of his kids, 10 years from now, we are all going to be in a different world. So we have got to be prepared, and you've got to be tapped in with a community that is awake and engaged and know what's going on, and we're preparing for what's going on to the best of our ability, right? So I went ahead and I put in my my links inside of the chat here. So if you just go ahead and look down and take a look at the chat, I really want to connect with you guys and see how we can support one another and making sure that all hands are on deck for this big shift that's happening right now. And like Brian said, like, I'm willing to work all hours of the day and night to connect with you guys, because what's happening is very important and you guys are very important. And we want to make sure that we are investing in projects and in companies that are really wanting to make a positive, significant change in this world. Okay, a positive change. So I want to connect with you guys if you are serious about being a part of this amazing change that's happening. So if for those of you who are interested in joining us in the investment club, I went ahead and I put the link for you guys to go ahead and take a look at the page and just see, all that's involved in all that you're going to be experiencing and how we can best support you on your journey. The next thing is go ahead and write down some questions. And then the next thing is to go ahead and book a call with me. I know that we're spread out all throughout the land from all different parts of the world. So if you don't see a time available, go ahead and message me on Facebook and let me know where you're from, who you are, where you're from, and what is the best time to connect with you for a call. But at this point, I only want to talk to people who are serious. So if you are not serious about being a part of this amazing shift that's happening, or if you're not ready to pull the trigger to join us, honestly, my time is reserved for people who are taking this serious. So go ahead and book a call with me there. There's always email if you want to get a hold of me, but Facebook is always the fastest. So as amazing as this call was, guys, don't let it end here. A shift is happening. Transition is happening. A transformation is happening. And the question I want to ask you is, are you prepared? Are you prepared? And if not, you still got time to get on it. So I'm done with my doom and gloom rant for now. We hope to see you on the inside for the next Thursday call. And back to you, Brian.
All right, thanks so much for that. Give it up for Martini. And really, an amazing perspective, and thanks for putting that in perspective, Martini. Sometimes I get a little lost sometimes speaking to all of these people, and it's just great to zoom out and just realize, like, are you prepared? If you're on this call, it means you had the foresight to realize that you need to be prepared. And if you made it through this whole call, then you've really seen, maybe you've had your eyes open to like the amazing opportunity and to the fact that there's this small group of people, this London Real Army that's going to change the course of history. And that's what we're going to do here. And we couldn't be more excited. So look, there's some days I wake up, especially when I first started learning about this. There were some dark days. It's like, wow. But now I've processed it, and now we're doing everything possible to change that future. And that's where I need to be right now. And that's where we are. So really looking forward to you being a part of this and helping us make this happen. We really need the right people to help make this happen. And that really comes down to energy more than anything, folks. That's really what we need. People on our same wavelength that want to go the distance, create something amazing, and create wealth simultaneously. I personally don't believe one exists without the other. Some people will try to tell you it does, Some people will shame you into trying to create something and not getting paid for it. That's just not true, folks. It's not a coincidence that the wealthiest people in the world have also created some of the greatest change in the world. And once you get that out of your mind, you realize they actually have to happen hand in hand. And so if we're going to create $5 trillion of value with this AI company, it's going to be because it's amazing. And by creating that value, we're going to get the best talent in the world. We're going to get the best customers in the world and create the best product in the world. But that's how it works, folks. So again, anybody else trying to tell you different is trying to play to some weird, guilt that you might have about something. That's just not what this is about. And it never has been. So we are clear. We know exactly what we're doing going forward. And I just want to finish and say thank you. I appreciate all the comments, bunch of great questions and people asking questions, noticing what's going on. A bunch of you have follow-up questions. So I highly recommend you book that call with Martini, because some of you are asking about how to invest and where can you get in on this deal and when are we closing Sarka and Open. Good questions. I would just say move fast, speak to Martini. He has to approve you. So give her a reason why you should be a part of this club. And if you can convince her, well, then I'll see you on Thursday is the plan. And so that's it, folks. Please, if this was good, you can share this video with your friends. We'll probably try to send out a replay in the next 24 hours, but please share this if you find this interesting and we can let the whole world know about this. All right. And until then, be strong, create your future. All right. Big love, everybody. Take care. Bye.